Hey guys, it's Brandon, your GTA Home Guy, and today I want to tell you the whole tenant process. I go over this with tenants all the time, making sure that they know really firmly how to get a place in the GTA because it can be hard. Now, there are a lot of nuances that I don't cover here, but the biggest things that I do cover are how to make very short work of it, make sure that you're getting a good value, and that you have the confidence to move forward. So stay tuned, and here it comes. One of the big things is making sure that we get all of our documents in order. We want to make sure that we've got our full Equifax credit report, and that's got to have your name and your score. A lot of times people ask, hey Brandon, is it okay if I use a TransUnion or I've got my Credit Karma? No, there's a gold standard. It would be like going out to supper and thinking, oh, I'm gonna bring my American Express and hope that they take it. It would be really awkward if you ended that date washing dishes, wouldn't it? Yeah, it would suck. So make sure you get the gold standard, the item that everyone expects, which is that full Equifax credit report. Now, some people are like, well, it's gonna cost me 25 bucks. Is your next move worth it? I'd say yes. If cost is an issue, you might have enough time to possibly request it from Equifax and they actually mail you a paper copy. Next thing, ID. What can be used as ID? Anything as long as it's government issued and it's not your health card. It's gotta be photo ID though, so your passport, your driver's license, an Ontario identification card, that sort of thing. And if you're from out of the area, they certainly can be out of country or out of province identifications, but they've just gotta have a likeness of you, and that is a requirement from both sides of the transaction. Both the landlord will wanna know, as well as the agent that's showing you around will wanna know. Next thing is your letter of employment. There's a few things that people have had common mistakes about, and a lot of it comes down to not being able to ascertain how much you make annually. It's got to be very clearly written out, saying you make X amount of dollars annually at this company, or this is how much hourly, this is how many hours the person gets. Those sorts of things, as long as the landlord can put the puzzle pieces together and know how much you bring home annually, that's great. But one of the things that's also left off is the appropriate contact person. You want to make sure that the person that is going to be able to say, yes, he works here, she works here, is the one that's on that letter. Because yeah, there will be a spot in an application that asks for references and who your employer is and who your manager is and that sort of thing. But you want that letter that states you work there to be somebody that can be asked about it. Last thing that you need to have is a rental application. There's a lot of things on the rental application that you can get away with leaving blank, and I suggest it. Anything that indicates financial whatever, like your bank account or making sure that your SIN number's on there, don't do that. Just leave it bare. I have a template email that says this is what you can specifically leave off. Let me know if you'd like that. But basically, it's just an info gathering tool. I haven't had a lot of pushback from other agents submitting it partially done, just because the facts that I say to leave off aren't facts that are pertinent. They're going to know if you have other financial obligations because of your credit report, your full credit report. So as long as we give them a full, complete file, by the end of it, they're definitely not going to put up an issue. If you're going directly to the listing agent of that lease, then you want to make sure to have all of these things in advance. You can tell them, I have a credit score of this, my annual income is this, and I will provide you with those documents should I want to make an application. So my process as far as making sure that tenants get the right place first time, quickest and least amount of stress, is we gather information first. Knowledge is going to be your biggest asset here. So depending on your timeline, the typical timeline is 30 to 45 days before you actually want to get the keys, dependent on how the market's rolling along. Feel free to ask me about that at the time that you're looking. The reason that it's not a good thing to look any longer than that is because basically tenants will give 60 days notice, and then the landlord has to get the place to the market and put it online, and that takes some time. So when they do that, it's never above 60 days. So we want to make sure that we info gather correctly, and what I will do is take the key parts of what you're looking for and send you out a list of things that have leased in the last while. If there's a sufficient amount, that means there's a good chance that we can work together. But if there's just a few, you might be better off going to the listing agent. Now, once we know what things are leasing for that are your desired composition of a unit, then we can go on to how many of those are available currently. If there's a lot of them available, then we can, explore more looking together. If there's only a few, then you want to increase your chances by going to the listing agent. Once we get that big list though, of all the places that are potentially suitable for you, then it's your job to pare it down. Get the top 10, sometimes the top 15. If the market's really ramped up for rentals, you need about 15 or so. You get the absolute best ones. I suggest basically making a bucket and just saying, yep, that one is a definite maybe, definite. Weed through, because sometimes there can be up to 200 results. So you want to weed through quickly and take your highest priorities, and then when you've got, whatever that smaller list is, start paring it back so you've got 10 or 15, making sure that those are the highest desired properties that you've come across. That way, you've got an accurate snapshot of the market. This is the best of what's out there for you at this point. And from there, you can move forward confidently, knowing that if there's a lot or a few in here that you like, that certainly you can put an offer in and get your application. And this makes it the one-day process that I'm talking about, because we don't take that 10 or 15. You order it absolute first and down the list, so that we can get the top 5 to 7, the best of the best. And if we go out and we see the best of the best and those don't suffice, we've got to change something, either area, time frame, or price point, so that it does adjust what's in our field of view. That's the biggest thing, making sure that we see the absolute best. I've had clients in past be like, okay, well, now I want to, nothing turned up in my best of the best, so why don't we look over in this area? And that's fine, because if you change areas, but try not to make it area specific if you have a wider gaze. Make it overall which ones are the very best for you. We have that list, we book all the appointments, it takes a few hours, we go out, we see all the properties, and then you can start putting in applications. A quick note on applications is they do need to be made one at a time. Some people will put in multiple, and there is a way you can do that in extenuating circumstances. I don't want to bore you with the details, but it's not commonplace, because if the landlord accepts you as a tenant, you have to submit your deposit. That's how it works. You are making an offer. It's a legally binding contract. Thanks for staying tuned this long, guys. And if you could just do me a favor, subscribe and check out some of my other videos. Go hit that bell icon, leave some comments, tell me what you need to know, and I will let you know. Thanks a lot. Reach out on any social at GTAHomeGuy.
Reach out in any social at GTAHomeGuy. I did that.